Today, Senator Allard and I are introducing our legislation, the Expanding the Promise for Individuals with Autism Act. We want to recognize the reality of the growing numbers of individuals with autism in our country and to respond with smart policies designed to help individuals and their families who have someone they love who is somewhere on the autism spectrum to reach the right care and achieve their potential. It is one of the most important challenges we confront because I don't need to tell this audience of experts, of parents, of grandparents, of family members, of caretakers, and so many who have been involved in working with individuals with autism, that we have an epidemic. And it is time we recognize the seriousness of it. You'll hear from some of our distinguished guests in a moment, but I want to thank Bob Wright and Lee Grossman and George Jeshen and Allison Singer for participating and for their work on behalf of individuals with autism spectrum disorder, commonly known as autism, as well as other developmental disabilities. We also have representatives here from many of the organizations that worked with Senator Allard and I and our staffs to shape this bill. Craig Snyder and Stuart Spielman of Autism Speaks, Sharon Scribner of the Autism Society of America, Kim Muscheno of the Association of University Centers on Disabilities, Don Jackson and Kay Neese of Easter Seals, and Kurt Decker of the National Disability Rights Network. Finally, my deepest thanks goes to the families who are present here today. It would be easy for each of you to turn inward and cope with the challenges that your loved one has presented to you. Most often it is parents and grandparents, siblings, and other members of an extended family who know better than anyone what autism means to the individual and to those who are caring for him or her. I have been working on autism-related issues for many years, and many of you have shared with me your personal stories, your daily struggles to get the appropriate treatments, the intervention, and the services you deserve to have. Last month, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention estimated that 1 in 150 children in America are living with an autism spectrum disorder, skyrocketing rates that call on all of us to do more, to learn more about this disorder, and then to help the people who are living with it. These, as you know, are much more than statistics, and every time I see a young person or a family who is dealing with it, I know that it is really about the best education, treatment, and care they can receive. Bill and I were taking a walk on one of my rare times off in the last couple of weeks in an area near our home, and we came across a father and his son who were similarly out for a walk in the woods. And we said hello, and the young boy was fixated on this walk. And he wanted his father to quit talking to these people named Clinton and get on this walk that had been the highlight of his day. And so we said goodbye. I could tell he was getting very antsy. He was sort of going down the trail and, saying rock and tree. And so his father said, well, my son is a special child. He has autism. And I said, yes, he is a very special child. And God bless you and your son. Here's what our legislation will do. First, it sends a message to the millions of Americans with autism and to their families that our country will not forget you and we will not let you down. First, we cut the red tape and delays to help parents access health care, behavioral education, and support services through federal and state initiatives. Too many children and adults are stuck waiting for the care they need, and there is an anxiety that is just so deep and profound because families know that their loved one, their child most likely, is missing out on care. We'll provide guidance and funding to help reduce those delays in access, and we'll close the gap between the demand and supply of professionals who help individuals with autism by increasing training capacity at centers of excellence across the nation. This gap is a big source of many of the delays. Second, we establish a task force that will evaluate how we can, in the short term, improve the quality of life for people living with autism and provide grants to states to help right away. Third, we establish a grant initiative to help the states and nonprofits assist adults living with autism with their housing and vocational training needs. We need to focus more attention on adults with autism because even though the numbers are growing, of our children, but those children are growing up. And many of them have much greater potential than they've ever been thought to before. Fourth, we create a National Technical Assistance Center for autism treatments, interventions, and services. This is a clearinghouse and provides an advisor on evidence-based treatment and best practices. Suzanne Wright, who is here with her husband Bob, and I have talked about how frustrating it is, first of all, to get the right diagnosis, and then secondly, to get the right prescription about what should be done. And we want to establish a clearinghouse so no matter where you live, no matter how remote it might be or how disconnected you may feel from getting into these networks, you can call and get help and get referred so that somebody can be there for you. I'm excited about this. I'm looking forward to working with all of you to move this legislation forward because we have to continue our dual efforts. We have to continue on the track of greater research and understanding so that we can get to a point where we prevent and cure anything along the autism spectrum. And secondly, we've got to provide greater treatment, care, and services so that people living with autism have the best chance they can have in our country.